Hello, my name is Reese Anderson, and welcome to Flashbulb. Now, you may not know this, but the website Flashbulb was just published a few days ago. Little background on the website. It's basically a compilation of blog posts, design work, Photoshop, in-depth stories, and hopefully soon we'll be putting up some photos, podcasts, and such. But basically, it's a vehicle to showcase a body of work. It's a vehicle to try some new things out. This video you're watching right now represents my first attempt at a vlog, if you will, and it is being filmed quite literally from my mom's basement. So we'll see how that goes. But a little background on myself. I just graduated from Kirkwood High School in St. Louis, Missouri, and I will be moving on to Indiana University next year to study journalism. With that, today we will be covering some Cardinals baseball, specifically their depressing performance last night, the MLB's decision to delay talks of playing in London in 2017, and we'll talk Dame Dalla, other athletes that tried their hand at hip-hop, specifically rap, and we'll even get you a little Open Championship action, little Tour de France action for no extra charge. Now, last night the Cardinals game last night against the Marlins pretty much encapsulated the entire season for me. 4 dingers in the Cardinals' favor, poor bullpen performance by the Cardinals, poor defense down the stretch, and resulting in a one-run loss at home. So yeah, pretty much checked every box the Cardinals have struggled with this year. And a little stat about that: their home record just dipped to 18-27. Record against winning teams to 17-31, and their mark in one-run games is now 7-16. So not a great place to be coming off the All-Star break, but 8 games back of the Cubs. Not really, not a terrible place to be, considering how poor the Cardinals have played in the first half, but also considering how poor the Cubs have played in the past month or so. That's a little concerning. But about last night, it was really a story of bullpen management, defensive lapses, including failed double play in the 4th inning, a bumble by Piscotty in the 8th inning, and then the fatal misjudgment by Randall Grichuk in the 9th. And really what it was is just poor performance in clutch situations and critical situations. Matt Adams struck out to end the game last night. He's 0 for 36 in his last 36 home at-bats in Busch Stadium. So, and that kind of speaks for the rest of the team's performance this year, the bullpen especially. I mean, to give it something to compare to, in 2011 in the playoffs when La Russa was mixing and matching bullpen pitchers and putting people in positions they weren't necessarily comfortable with, what seemed to happen, especially in the lineup, what seemed to happen was in all those situations, whenever the Cardinals needed someone to come through with a hit, whenever they needed a strikeout, whenever they needed someone to step up in a clutch situation, someone always seemed to step up. And this year, you just don't really see that from the Cardinals. Matheny's been mixing things up with the lineup, I know, which, I mean, they have a young team, and for young players, the lack of consistency there probably doesn't help. But I will say one thing: if the Cardinals want to do anything come October, they need the bullpen to have experience in those situations, and they need to have players that are willing to evolve and are willing to be flexible on a game-by-game basis. So hopefully And also, I read something about there being chemistry issues in the locker room, which, I mean, as a Cardinals fan, I'm not really too concerned about that because the Cardinals organization they know how to run things. Mike Matheny knows how to lead. He's a great leader. He knows how to manage his players. Uh, so I'll get back to you about that in a month and see where they're at. But uh, right now it's looking a little bleak, and I think Cardinals fans are getting a little anxious. Um, apparently they booed Rosenthal off the mound last night, so uh, that's uh, not really what they want going into the second half of the season. Some other MLB news. MLB legal officer Dan Halem said discussions about playing in London in 2017 are going to be pushed off. BBC said that collective bargaining, negotiations, and the World Baseball Classic kind of played a role in that. We'll wait for more stuff to come out on that, but personally, I think it's great that the MLB is looking to expand and play in other countries, especially Europe. I mean, the MLB is totally an international league. I mean, all the players that are coming up from Latin America, Cuba, Dominican Republic, players coming in from Asia. Um, I think it's great to expand to other areas of the world, and I'm more of a fan of the MLB doing this than I was the NFL. Just because the NFL it's really an American thing. I mean, no other country in the world plays football, and even though it might have been a success in the one game they had at Wembley, it I don't think it's something that's going to last. I mean, how can you how can you compare it to the culture of soccer that they have over there in Europe? It's not going to be as successful. Um, but yeah, overall, I'm excited for the MLB. I think it's a good thing that they're doing this, and hopefully they resume those talks within the next year or so. Now, on a different note, Damian Lillard, uh, Trailblazers guard, aka Dame Dalla, had his first live rap performance last night of his career. Of course, if you follow him on Instagram, you may have gotten a taste of what he's all about, but this, for me, opens up the question about whether or not athletes can really do both and really balance multiple careers, if you will. Um, for most of these guys, people have done it like Shaq, Clint Dempsey, uh, Deion Sanders, even Kobe had a little run at it, wasn't too successful. Um, uh, the one overall consistency with these guys is that the music kind of stinks. It's kind of like Will Smith, The Fresh Prince. Summertime was a classic. All the rest of his music was pretty poor. And really the only reason he got listens was because he was on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and was because of his acting career. And I think that's the same for some of these athletes trying to do it. They're using their athletic brand to try other things, which I commend. But for being honest, most of their music is not that great. But having said that, Damian Lillard, I've listened to some of his stuff. I'll put a link to his SoundCloud in the description. But he is actually kind of surprised me. He's actually good, unlike the majority of these guys. And I think people actually take him seriously, unlike some of these other guys. But yeah, U.S. Open third round finished up this morning with two pretty stellar performances. Well, not stellar, solid performances by Henrik Stenson and Phil Mickelson on a moving day, which really makes this Open Championship a story about two players. It's really a two-player a two-player field now, barring a monumental collapse from either of them. Stenson, of course, going for his first major championship. Phil going for his first since 2013, since the Open in 2013. And so I'm excited to see what those guys do tomorrow. I am personally a big fan of Phil. I think that he really needs this win. Henrik Stenson, of course, going for his first, he needs it as well. But I like the old timers. I'm a classic golf fan, and so we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited for it. I'm also excited to watch the rest of the Tour de France. I'm not really a big biking fan, but what really has piqued my interest in this, specifically this Tour de France, has been the fan involvement. I've seen the video of one of the bikers punching a fan pulling down his pants and mooning the bikers riding up a hill. And sadly enough, I think that that's actually publicity that the Tour de France needs right now. If you asked me to name one biker, I probably couldn't do it. But if you asked me in 5 years, I'd probably be able to recount the instance where the biker punched one of the spectators in the face. And as for, I mean, I think it adds another element to the competition with how intimate the fans are to the racers. You can kind of compare it to a Spike Lee kind of thing where the fans are so close to the players that they actually become part of the game themselves. So I find that to be interesting. But that pretty much wraps things up for today. Thank you for watching this first edition of Flashbulb Videos with myself, Reese Anderson. And before I sign off, I would just like to invite everyone to check out the rest of the site. It includes stories by myself, hopefully stories by Gabe, one of my buddies, Gabe Gross from San Diego. Photoshop work from Sam Balmer, and just a big mishmash of different art, different writing. Hopefully some photos will be up there, some podcasts. But yeah, thanks for watching and take it easy.